Men of Reddit, when was the last time you cried and why? 2 years ago. I received a call from my dad that my mom had an aneurysm while on vacation. Was not expected to live. And I needed to get on a plane right away. It shook me to the core to hear my dad so confused and hurt. He was a lost child. I cried in the terminal waiting for the plane. Edit. Thank you all for the thoughts and well wishes. My mom survived the aneurysm. But she is still recovering. She shouldn't have survived it. So we are all very thankful. Though she will never recover to where she was before this all happened. This has aged both my parents by many years. Thank you also for the gold. To the kind guy gal who flipped the coin my way. My wife passed away from cancer last year. It's been about 6 months now. I still cry once in a while about that. I also cried when my 3-year-old son needed to have his tonsils and adenoids removed. Even with such a low risk surgery. After everything I had been through recently with losing my wife. It hit me hard. Edit. Also, 2 of my cats died right around the time my wife did. One died either the same night or the night before my wife. We were waiting on that cat to die. She was a little over 19. Then, my favorite cat died about a month after. Hoping the rest will hang on for a while now. All rescue cats. I cried for both of them. I think it was my 30th birthday. I don't spend my birthday with my family anymore. Went to my nan's house to spend the day with her. Found her on her bedroom floor white and cold. Couldn't resuscitate her. Went to my nan's house to spend the day with her. Good for you. If she hadn't passed away she would have been delighted to see you. My deaf 5-year-old son recently had a cochlear implant put in. We were warned by the surgeon not to expect much as his inner ears were so malformed that conversation may be impossible. Even in the best case. The implant went in on the side that was the least developed. Leaving the better ear intact. He spoke for the first time last weekend. And has spoken again since. They activate the implant next week. When my best friend left the country. It's gonna be years till I see him again. When my dad ran over a baboon in a safari park. I laughed for some reason. A week ago when the doctors told us my wife had 6-12 months to live. And I had to talk to my 3 kids about it. Stage 4 colon cancer. Diagnosed 5 years ago. Last night. Dad died 6 weeks ago. Open bracket. Edit. Thank you Forrest Crunk for the gold. Friday. I came home from working up north to find my wife had moved out and taken our daughter. Edit. Just an update. I got to see my daughter today. It was a very good day. Lots of cuddles, hugs and fun at a few parks. When I went to drop her off with her mom she cried. I cried. It all sucked. As for the police thing. No, I didn't not call the police, though it was suggested and had crossed my mind. Having read the Criminal Code of Canada. My wife, X, I guess, was in violation of section 283. So while calling the police would have been valid. I felt better dealing with it myself and not making the situation worse. Second edit. I got an apartment today. I have till the end of the month in the house we were renting. So at least that is all sorted now. When my parents told me I had to give up my dog. My father told me that. Because my mother no longer wanted to deal with the hair and dog smell. I had to give my dog of 15 years to a person who lived at our alternative residence 2 cities over. I was trying to maintain a poker face when I was being told. But even as a 23-year-old male. I started to choke up and had to go into the other room. Sat Indian style hugging my dog in lap and cried harder than I've ever had in my life. It didn't help that she was trying to lick my face to cheer me up. I hated myself to this day because I should have already moved out. I just didn't have enough money or a roommate. When my dog died. I had her since I was 8. And she passed away when I was 22. She was a staple in my life. I fed her. played with her, brushed her when she needed it, bathed her, and took care of her when she had her first litter. She passed in her sleep, which is some comfort, but it was way too sudden. I had a nervous breakdown when it became apparent to me that I couldn't handle my depression and such on my own. It was a really bad week. A roommate spent the week sleeping in the hallway outside my door because she was convinced that my drinking was out of hand as a result. And she was going to have to roll me over on my side to prevent me from choking on puke. Never happened. But that was another wake-up call. Having someone that worried about you f***ing sucks. Last night, because I am not happy with where I am in life. 15 years ago when my daughter tried to hurt herself. You haven't cried in 15 years? I mean, that's great that you haven't had to. You must be one tough son of a bitch. Sorry about your daughter. In February when my grandpa died. He was very reserved and quiet. And so am I. So growing up we never talked much, and I suppose the interest of getting to know each other faded. So I didn't cry because I missed him. I cried because I didn't feel much when he died. And he was my grandpa for FCK's sake. I felt like it was a telltale sign that confirmed my suspicions of not being able to connect with people. And that this was only the beginning. Like I'm a psychopath or something. Which spooked me. So I cried. Edit. Reddit. You're some beautiful people. Watched Hachi. A Dog's Tale. Those feels, man. Dropped my kebab coming home last night. Last week. I've had to take the last 2 weeks off from work to spend in the hospital with my father, who had a heart attack then heart surgery. I moved recently for work and my young daughter asked me to move back because she misses me too much. And the second time I was supposed to fly home, my grandfather died less than 12 hours before my flight. So now I'm taking another week off of work. What a shitty month. I cried during Interstellar. When Cooper was watching the tapes of Murph while she's growing up. I usually cry after sex. So yay. It's been a while since I shed a tear. You've never cried? My son took his first step last week. My wife didn't notice, but I shed a few tears of pride. My cat died last week. I yawned this morning. And tears came out. When a good friend talked to me about killing himself because of relationship problems. 2 years after I attempted suicide because of relationship problems. Which he knew. I suffer from depression and a few other fun brain things. And last year it got pretty extreme. There were a few times when I'd just break down on the way home from work or have to hide out in the bathroom for a few minutes to collect myself. Before that. Probably when my first cat died a few years ago. Last week. Because everything has been going down lately and I couldn't control. Also the dude who said men don't cry can go suck dicks. Yesterday. Depression's a bitch. Not trying to start a sympathy war, but I so wish I could cry. I get misty-eyed whenever there is a pet loss picture on Reddit or any sad pet story. 2 weeks ago when my depression was pretty bad and I was getting over a girl while listening to Fake Plastic Trees by Radiohead. Yeah. Don't do that. 2010 WC Final. FCKU in Easter. The 2014 WC was tough for me. Watching Brazil lose 7-0 to Germany. I couldn't help myself. The emotions overwhelmed me. And I burst into tears. Of laughter. The hug of the Manison got. May have got me a little teary. Interstellar. Yesterday. My best friend died 2 weeks ago. Now I cry every day. Watching Big Hero 6. Are you satisfied with your care? Frigging Baymax. Also. Anytime I watch Field of Dreams. I'm not afraid to say it. The birth of my son. Why? Happy tears. When they took the McCrib away again. For some odd reason I read McCrib as Mcrib. Star Wars The Force Awakens teasers. A girl OFC. I genuinely can't remember. I don't think I'm emotionally stunted either. I just don't cry very often. I get amazed sometimes when people say they teared up over things that seemed not exactly trivial, but certainly quite inconsequential. And I guess there are people who just cry far more easily than I do. How old are you? I never cried in my teens and 20s. Now I often get glassy-eyed over the stupidest of things. I saw Avengers: Age of Ultron yesterday. Seeing the Force Awakens trailer on the big screen was the first of two. Bruh. I teared up last night when Stannis hugged his daughter. Before that, it was at my wedding last August. 2 years ago, in 11th grade after a math exam, I was the best student in math in the entire school. The whole class got a 100, while I got a 79. All of them. That's right. Every single one blatantly cheated in front of the teacher. They stole the questions and offered to give me the answers too. But I turned down, thinking the teacher would deduct points from those who cheated. Sure enough, he did not. When I talked to him, that son of a bitch refused to acknowledge any kind of cheating and said that he wasn't going to change my score. I excused myself to the bathroom where I lost my shit and cried out of rage. Then I went into Hulk mode and broke 2 mirrors and a sink. The student's name? Albert Einstein. Les Miserables. Playing in Sydney 3 weeks ago. The part where the priest says Jean Valjean, that he has claimed his soul for God. Or something similar to that. And then again when he died. I swear. Ninjas cutting up onions all over the place. Crazy. Edit. My dog isn't dead yet but definitely should be euthanized. I think I cried like 2 days ago or something. No one has the guts to kill her. But watching her suffer is so much harder. Get her euthanized before the dog you remember is the broken, sad dog and not the happy joy of your life. Yes, it's hard. But her suffering is harder. Men of Reddit. Do people actually think we don't cry? Fast 7. When my cat that I had known my entire life died. Me, you're awesome and I miss you.